right, guys, we're gonna actually get started in child's pose tonight. So come to your mat and bring your knees about mat's width distance apart, toe tips to touch. And you'll start to just crawl yourself out to a child's pose. Place your forehead down on the mat or on some pillows or blocks if you have them, if the mat's not accessible to you. And then you'll just extend your arms out long. And for those of you who have really tight lats or upper body, it might be a good idea to stretch to one side of your mat. And then when I call halfway through, you can stretch the other, just because we're gonna hold this for a while tonight and it will really help you get into that area of your body. So if you're interested in doing that, you'll just crawl your fingertips all the way forward. And then once they're as far as they can be towards the top of the mat, you'll just start to crawl them over to the right-hand side. And you can put your right side of your face down on the mat if you decide to do this type of stretch instead. And the thing that you'll want to start to try to do is anchor your sit bones down towards your heels. So your left sit bone might come off of the mat a little bit if you decide to go that route. So just be mindful of that. But whatever shape you're in, just really start to roll your shoulders on your back and take a really deep breath in. And a big open mouth, sigh out, let it go. Whatever happened today, this week, you are on your mat here for the next 60 minutes. So the goal tonight is to try to be as present as possible. And our restorative practice is meant to really restore you back to a neutral state. So if you're like me, being active on the go all the time is comfortable for you, restorative is really tough. It's really tough to be still. It's tough to quiet your mind and just really be here instead of everywhere else or all the things on your to-do list. So the fact that you decided to sign in to yoga tonight and be here on your mat, just really try to spend the next 60 minutes with me here. And as much as you can, whatever happened before you got to your mat today, just let that go. I will let you know when we're halfway through each posture tonight. So if you do need to make any adjustments or you're taking a variation on one side and then the other, you'll know when it's time to switch sides. But the goal is to try to stay as still as possible. So try not to fidget. And it's so easy when we're in these postures, holding them as long as we do, to just let your mind start racing. And when that starts to happen, instead of beating yourself up about it or just being upset that, oh man, I let that happen again, just be aware that it happens and try to bring yourself back to being on your mat. That in itself is practicing yoga. See where you can start to soften. So any muscles in your face that you might be holding on to any tension, perhaps you're clenching your jaw. Just see where you can melt a little bit more into the mat, allowing yourself to start to open and release something as you soften. Really pay attention to your breathing, and as your belly is open towards your mat, are you allowing your belly to fully expand on your inhales to allow new air to come in? And then on your exhales, if you can just imagine that you're pulling your belly button all the way to your spine. But the goal during this class is to really start to lengthen your inhales and your exhales to slow down your breathing and also to bring some mindfulness there. We're halfway through, so if you've taken the variation where you've curled your fingertips over to one side of your mat, just start to make your way back through center and then gently over to the other side on your own time. And if that's a really slow moving thing, you can take your time to get there. And if you've ventured over to your left side of your mat, you can place the left side of your cheek down on the mat just to release your head and neck down to feel the side body stretch on that side. Again, being mindful of your right sit bone, seeing if you can anchor that down more into the mat. Close your eyes if you haven't done so already. With every exhale, just imagine that you're melting a little bit further into your mat, as if the stress from your day or your week is just melting off as you're allowing your body to finally rest and open. Holding our postures for as long as we do really helps us get into that deep connective tissue to finally let our body open up and undo all that we do to it all day long. So you may find that your restorative practice is actually a lot more intense than your vinyasa practice, just depending on how often you are allowing yourself to stretch and open up. So just breathe into that, knowing all the good stuff that you're doing for yourself. And bring your awareness back to your breath if you've started to let your mind drift to someplace else. Take a deep breath in. And big, open mouth, sigh out, let something go. And your next inhale, start to crawl your fingertips back towards center. And then make your way up to a tabletop position. And then just come to a seat. This is where you'll need some kind of props. Bring your legs out to a wide V. And you might find that you need a couple different things. So if you've got pillows or blocks or both, you'll make some kind of stacking situation so that your forehead can come down onto something. And as you start to figure out where your forehead might land, this is where you might need to play around with things. So just as you get into it, you may need to make some adjustments. But inhale, take your gaze up, your arms up. Exhale, start to reach forward towards the front of your space. And as your spine starts to round, let your head and neck hang heavy so that you can place your forehead on your block or your pillows or whatever prop you have. And again, as we hang out here, I'll let you know when we're halfway through. You might want to make some adjustments with your blocks or props at that point. But when you're here, just settle in, find a shape that is comfortable to you. If you hate forward folds, like Matt, sorry Matt, this one's for you. But these are so good for resetting our parasympathetic nervous system. So they can be quite uncomfortable, especially if you have a lot of stress or anxiety, but they really do serve as a reset and just allow your body to open up and expand. And if you've got tight hamstrings and a tight lower back area, they can be really uncomfortable at first. So we'll be hanging out here for a little bit, and you'll start to see that you will open up as you relax into this a little bit more. So just, and every breath out, just see if you can relax your body enough to really melt down more into your mat. And again, come back to your breath. See if your mind is wandering a lot, you can start to count your inhales and your exhales to see how long they are. So how long you inhale for and how long you exhale for. And oftentimes we're doing such shallow breathing throughout the day that we don't even pay attention to that or even know how our breath is. It just happens. Our body takes care of that for us. We don't even have to think about it. But once you start to bring some awareness there, you can really get back into your body and start to undo some of the stuff from the day and really calm yourself down by using your breath. So again, no judgment on what your breath is doing. Just see if you can start to pay attention to it. We're halfway through, so if you want to make any adjustments with your props, perhaps you're open enough to where you can change the height of your props or remove one of your props and still get your forehead down. If you are cozy where you are and you don't want to make any adjustments whatsoever, just stay where you're at. Just imagine that you're sinking down more into this forward fold on every breath out. Very, very slowly on your next inhale, start to make your way out. We spent a lot of time here, so be gentle with yourself as you move any props over to the side. And just bend your knees, place your palms behind your low back, and just windshield wiper your knees from one side and to the other, just to loosen up our low back. When you're ready, come to a tabletop position, stacking your shoulders over your wrists and your hips over your knees. Plant your left palm firmly into the mat. Inhale, raise your right palm up to the sky. Take your gaze up to your right fingertips. And then start to bring your palm facing up towards the left-hand side for thread the needle. And you'll come down onto your right-hand shoulder just to start to open that up. And you'll bring the right side of your face down to the mat. If that's not accessible to you, you can place a pillow or a block underneath the side of your face. And if you're like me, my left hip is way above my right now, so just try to inch that over so that they're square to the mat. And you may want to crawl your left palm up to the top of your mat just to really get more into this side. This is a really great shoulder opener, shoulder compression, especially for those of you who sit on a computer all day or just are hunched over a lot. This helps undo a lot of that. So just softly close your eyes if you haven't done so already. And start to feel the opening that's happening in the front side of your body. This is also a really great lat stretch for the left side of your body if you've extended your fingers towards the top of your mat. Paying attention to rooting your hips so that they're square. So you may have to mindfully just inch your left hip back to meet your right. Those of you who use your right hand a lot, if you're right-handed or just tend to use that side more, this is going to be a little bit more intense than when we go to the other side. So just breathe into that, just knowing that no two sides of our body are the same, and whatever sensations you're feeling right now, just breathing into those. You're allowing your body to undo a lot of the stuff that we carry around, and we're so closed off with our posture mostly throughout the day. And so opening this up just really allows us to not only stand taller, have more confidence, but allows our breath to really flow through our body because we're not cutting that off. Just think of all the benefits that you're doing for yourself as you're opening up here. Seeing where you can soften. And if this is too intense on your knees, you can always come down to more of a child's pose shape by bringing your knees out wider on the mat and just sinking more into your hips. So just pay attention to your body. You guys know your body's best. And anything that I'm calling out tonight, if it's not working for you or not something that you're interested in, you can always take a different shape or do your own thing. This is your class. I'm just merely guiding you through. So everything is a suggestion. If you're not feeling it, that is the beauty of yoga, and it's a practice. So you do what feels right for you. Take a deep breath in. And a big open mouth, side out, let something go. Do that one more time. Big breath in. Let something go, something that you don't need anymore. You've extended your left fingertips towards the top of your mat. Bring them in towards your face. root down into your left palm and bring your right palm back up to the sky. And you might want to take some arm circles in one direction and then perhaps in the other, just to bring some blood flow back in this side of the body. And when you're ready, we're just gonna swap that out. So you'll root into your right palm this time. Inhale, left fingertips up to the sky, take your gaze up. Exhale, bring your right or your left palm up to the sky and thread it through, bringing your left shoulder and left side of your face down to the mat. And then once you're there, just paying attention to your hips. If they're out of alignment, just see if you can square them back to the mat. And then you may wish to extend your right fingertips towards the top of your mat just to really get into that left shoulder. But again, this is your class. This side's gonna feel different, so you take what you need. And whenever you've found the shape that you want to hang out in, just softly close your eyes. Again, just come back to your breath. Are you allowing your belly to fully expand while you're in this shape? As you breathe in. And we've been watching a lot of Sesame Street these days around here, and they always talk about belly breathing, which is so cute that they teach kids that. And I know we forget about that as adults and typically don't even come back to that. But it's such a good tool, especially as you're trying to wind down from your day or just, de-stress, decompress. Just see if even just paying attention to your breath throughout your day helps bring some calm and some grounding to whatever you're facing. Maybe it seems like work is just never letting up and you're constantly running around and you can't ever catch up to your workload or just what's happening. So seeing if you can use your breath in those stress times and just realizing that you can get through difficult stuff, including difficult yoga postures or just things that you have to withstand or hold on to, and seeing how your breath can really help you get through all of that and knowing that you're stronger than you think. Take a deep breath in. And a full open mouth, sigh out, let it go. One more round of breath here. Breathing in something good, something positive. Exhaling out something that you no longer need. And when you're ready, if you've extended your right fingertips to the top of the mat, just bring them in towards your face. Root your right palm into the mat and slowly come back up to tabletop, extending your left fingertips towards the sky. And then you'll just take arm circles in one direction and then the other, just to loosen that up. And when you're ready, we'll meet back in a neutral tabletop. And we will take sleeping swan or pigeon pose on the right hand side. So your right knee, you're just gonna scooch towards your right wrist. And then you'll bring your right ankle towards your left wrist and point your toes over towards the left hand side. You'll extend your left leg long behind you, and then you'll just take a peek over your right hand shoulder just to square your hips down to the mat. And this is where you might want to place a block underneath your right hip if you need some more support there, or you can always take this on your back. Inhale, take a gaze up. Exhale, start to crawl yourself forward to put your pigeon or sleeping swan to sleep. And this is where a prop might come in handy. You can place a pillow or a block underneath your forehead or your chest or both, just to help you reach the mat. And then whenever you have found the shape that you want to hang out in, you can just start to close your eyes and see if you can release any tension in your upper back. So if you're really using your upper back to support you, you may really want to find some props. And I used to be really stubborn and resist props, but they're so great to help you get deeper into the poses, and it actually takes a lot of tension off of your body because you don't have to support yourself as much, so that you get more benefits out of each posture. So if that's you, if you're gripping on with all your might right now, or if you could benefit from just letting that go, letting the ego just melt away by allowing yourself to grab a block or a couple of pillows, highly encourage that. Especially if you're just, over it today, you're feeling so burnt out, it's just really great to just melt your chest into something. So sometimes just having that prop underneath you is so great. And helps you relax, even though we're really getting into our hips here, which we store so much stuff in our hips. So likely is really tense and not the most comfortable pose. If you're really open in your hip area, this might not be too uncomfortable for you. But for most of us, we have pretty tight hips, which can lead to a host of other issues throughout the body. There's a lot of connection between our hips and our neck and upper back area, believe it or not. And so sometimes if you have a lot of trouble with that, it can be caused from really tight hips. So just seeing where you can start to open up and release that, help release other areas of tension in your body. Continue to utilize your breath. And if you are struggling to breathe because of the tense areas in your hip, just imagine that you're sending breath to those tight areas, which will help you just relax a little bit more. Just continue to soften as you sink down further. Take a final round of breath here. Just letting something go. And on your next inhale, just slowly start to make your way out by coming back up to a tabletop position. You may want to extend your right leg long behind you and just press into your toes to get some blood flow back on that side. Hip circles towards the right hand side also might feel really good in one direction, and then you can take it in the other. Whatever feels good to you, take that. And then when you're ready, we're gonna take that on the other side. So in tabletop, you'll just slide your left knee in towards your left wrist, and then bring your left shin parallel to the top of your mat so that your left ankle can come towards your right wrist. Send your right leg long behind you. And then take a peek over your left shoulder, just to square your hips down. Inhale, take your gaze up, and then just start to fold forward on this side. Melting your forehead and your chest into the mat or into your prop. And each side is so different. So if you didn't need a prop on the other side, but find that you do, again, just allow that to happen. No one knows except for you. And there's no judgment here. So do what feels good. Again, a block or a pillow or even a rolled up blanket underneath your left hip might feel really good, just to bring the floor to you. So it's not as an intense of an opening on that hip. You can also bring it underneath your knee if you're having any knee issues. But just see where you can soften and try to relax. You may have done this pose a million times, but each time it is going to feel different. And that's often because throughout the day, your week, your month, whatever you're doing, it just continues to, you're holding on to that throughout the week or the last time that you've done this pose. So just be mindful of that, you know, if it's more painful today or less painful today, that's just an indication of what your body is carrying around. And if things start to come up for you here, any thoughts, feelings, emotions that you may have been carrying around with you this entire time, just allow them to release. You don't have to carry the weight of that around anymore. So just see where you can soften and open and allow whatever comes up to come up. And then as you're done with class tonight, you can just imagine that you're wiping it away when you put your mat away, because you don't need to carry on to that anymore. Have you So thinking about your breath, or has that been a while since you've paid attention to that? And if so, see if you can start to bring your awareness back to your breathing. And if you found that you're shallow breathing right now, not really utilizing your belly to fully inhale, just see where you can slow that down. Just allowing for some expansion and extra space. Final round of breath here. Releasing any last things that you don't need to carry on with you for the rest of today. And when you're ready on your time, slowly make your way out of this side. Coming back to that tabletop position. Again, you may want to extend your left leg towards the back of your mat. Just press into your toes. Or you can take some knee circles, again, in one direction and then the other, whatever feels good to you. And then come down to your spine, all the way down on your back, and just slowly lower one vertebrae at a time. Extend your left leg long, bring your right knee in towards your chest. And then as you're laying here, just grab onto your shin of your right leg and just gently guide your right knee over towards your right armpit, just to touch your entire spine down to the earth and start to open up that side just a little bit. And when you're ready, bring your left palm to the outer edge of your right knee and just start to guide your right knee over towards the left-hand side of your mat. And if this is too intense of a supine twist for you, you can always bend your left leg as well. But if you want to hang out here, it's likely that your right knee is not going to touch the floor all the way unless you compromise your upper back, because you want to keep your shoulder blades both grounded on the mat. So if you've got some pillows or some blocks, you can place them underneath your right knee just to help support you if this is just too intense of a stretch. You'll tee out your arms and then just start to slowly take your gaze over towards the right side of your mat. And then just softly close your eyes once you're there to get into this full twist. And try to, once you've found a shape, just try to stay as still as possible. It's so easy to fidget here, but the more calm and still that you can be, the more benefits you're going to get out of each posture. And our supine twists are just so good for so many things. Loosening up our low back, getting into our IT band, helping with digestion, and also giving our internal organs a little bit of a massage through the twisting. So it's almost like you're wringing out your internal organs a bit and allowing them to just get a little bit more love than normal. So just think of that as you're breathing here. you're having trouble paying attention to your breath, you can always bring your left palm to your belly and just see if, as you're breathing in, if your belly even moves at all, or if you need to bring some attention there to expand your belly out as you breathe in. And then slowly exhale out. And sometimes you can hold your breath on the inhale and the exhale after you've taken a full deep breath in. You can pause for a few counts and then exhale all of your air out, and then pause at the end of that when you're fully empty, just to really slow down your breathing, do a couple of reset cycles. And if you can do that randomly throughout your day, you can really reset your body and just bring a lot of awareness and attention back to what you're doing, back to your body. So if you ever find yourself completely stressed out or just overwhelmed, it's just a really great technique to use anytime you need. Just see if you can try it here. And when you're ready, we're going to slowly make our way back to center. So come out of this twist. And you may want to rock your knees from side to side just to loosen up your low back. And then you'll extend your right leg out. Keep your left knee in towards your chest, grab onto your shin. And just gently nudge your knee in towards your left armpit. Just again to start to get into that here. Taking a few rounds of breath. And then slowly grab onto your left knee with your right fingertips and start to gently nudge it towards the right hand side of your mat. And you can keep your right leg extended, or you may need to bend your right knee. This is just too much for your low back. And you'll tee out your arms and ground both of your shoulder blades into the mat so that they're both touching. And then you'll take your gaze over towards your left fingertips and then softly close your eyes once you're there. And again, just try to find a shape that you can be still in. So if extending your right leg long is just making you fidget too much, just come to a traditional supine twist, or use props to help keep you in whatever shape that you're in. And again, you might want to bring your right palm to your belly just to feel your breathing on this side, paying attention to that, seeing if you can start to really slow that down. We're halfway through this side already. So if you do need to make any adjustments, you can, but again, try to stay still. You don't need to move, just bring some attention back to your breath. you've allowed your mind to wander, just try to bring it back to your body, paying attention to any sensations. So if you do feel the stretch in your left hip and your low back, just bringing some attention there. Perhaps just paying attention to the music, sound of my voice, other sounds that you might hear around you, perhaps your air conditioning or the sound of the hum of your refrigerator, anything that's nearby. The more that we start to pay attention to our senses, the more that you really can ground and get back to your body. Another really useful tool if you're feeling overwhelmed or anxious, is just paying attention to your 5 senses, and that really helps bring you back to your body instead of spinning out in your own mind about whatever it is. And your next breath in, start to come out, try to bring your knees back to center. And you'll slowly just rock your knees from side to side to loosen up your low back. And we'll take a brief stop in supine butterfly or Supta Baddha Konasana if you're familiar with the vinyasa shape. So soles of your feet to touch, your knees will come out wide. And we won't be here for very long, but this is just a great one to reset in between and really get into our low back. And you can also use this as an opportunity to place your hands on your belly to really start to slow down your breathing. Softly close your eyes if you haven't done so already. Allowing a few moments to just stretch out here. This is a great one to stretch your entire back and front side of your body. Two more rounds of breath here. Deep breath in. Big open mouth, sigh out. Let something go. Close your knees back together like a book. And bring your knees in towards your chest. And just, again, rocking side to side. So loosen that up and let that go. And you'll want to grab onto either a block, a book, or a pillow, or whatever other prop you have. And plant both of your feet firmly into your mat. And on your next inhale, lift your hips up just enough to get your prop underneath your sacrum or your low back area. And you'll know you'll have the prop in the right place if you can lift your legs up to the ceiling and not need to, hold on to anything or you don't fall off of your prop. So make some adjustments there, but then once you're in a good spot, your feet will be firmly planted into the mat. And if you do have a block or a book, there's multiple sides. So if you want more of a pelvic tilt just to really help reset your body, you can play around with that, see what feels good to you tonight. And then just close your eyes. is another great one to bring your hands to your belly, or you can place your palms facing down just to ground more into the mat. But wherever you're at, just really try to soften. So if you're holding on to any tension in your jaw or other muscles of your face or just your upper body, see where you can soften and relax into this a little bit more. One more round of breath here. Slowly on your next inhale, just lift your hips up enough just to remove your prop. Then slowly lower them back down. Bring your knees in towards your chest and grab on for the outer edges of your feet for happy baby. And you'll just gently bring your knees in towards your armpits, and you might want to rock gently from side to side, or perhaps you're craving some stillness, whatever feels good to you. And on your own time, when you're ready, you can come to your final resting posture. If there's anything else that I haven't called for tonight that you're craving, take that now. But if you are ready to relax for a few minutes, you can either take legs up the wall for that variation, or just extending yourself out into a comfortable shape on your back. And you might find that pillows or blocks underneath your knees just really help you loosen up. And you can either bring your palms down to the mat for some grounding, or on your belly again to really pay attention to your breath in this Shavasana. So wherever you've decided to rest tonight, just start to bring some awareness to the muscles in your face. See if you can loosen your jaw, releasing your tongue from the roof of your mouth. Gently roll your shoulders on your back. And allow your toes to fall to either side of the mat if you haven't done so already. And on your next exhale, try to stay as still as possible and enjoy these few minutes of rest. Shavasana is here for you as long as you need tonight. So you're in your own space, and if you want to continue to enjoy your rest, you can definitely tune out the sound of my voice, and even close Zoom and just hang out as long as you need. But if you want to just get moving enough so that you can carry on with the rest of your night and have a good night's sleep, just start to bring a little bit of awareness back to your body by wiggling your fingers and your toes. Helps you roll out your wrists and your ankles. And then just make your way to one side of your mat for a brief stop in fetal pose, creating a pillow with your forearm, and just softly close your eyes. On your next exhales, push yourself up to a comfortable seated position and bring your hands to heart center and softly close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and a full open mouth sigh out. Sigh in something awesome, something that you still need for your evening. Breathe out something that you don't. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I hope this helped you undo anything that happened today and just have a good reset before you head to bed. Namaste.